All right, we're going to talk today about graphing a nonlinear equation. So we've talked about linear equations, and we know that linear equations make a line. So a nonlinear equation, or they make a straight line, sorry. So a nonlinear equation is going to be an equation that makes a graph that is not a straight line, okay? So for the first one that we're going to look at, we're going to look at graphing y equals negative x squared, and we are going to use values of x from -3 to 3. So working with linear equations, I told you, you could pick whichever points you wanted to use to create your line, but here I'm specifying that I want you to graph if x was -3 all the way to 3, okay? And we're going to use integers here. We're going to use whole numbers. So here's our equation. And so what we're going to do is we're going to make a chart first. And you should be doing this as well. And we're going to have -3, -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and 3 for our x values. Okay? And then and then we're going to put in our equation, y equals -x squared, just like we've been doing. And then we'll put what we figure out our y values to be. And then finally we'll have our xy coordinates. So you should be taking the time to create this whole graph. So you can go and pause the video if you need a moment to catch up. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and grab my calculator. We're going to figure out what these equations would be. So -x squared, that means I'm going to square x and then make the answer negative. That's what that means. So to write this out, I'm going to write this out as -3 squared. Okay, this one, because this negative is going outside the squared. So negative, and then I'm going to square -2, -1 squared, -0 squared, -1 squared, -2 squared, and and then 3 squared. So if I go ahead and I figure each of these out, solve this on the calculator, I'm going to type it in just like I have it written, like that. Okay, so my calculator matches this. So y is -9 for this one, and you should be doing this along with me on your calculator. And -4 for this one, -1. Of course, we get 0 there, but now notice what happens here. 1 squared, and then we make it negative. It's going to be -1, just like this one was. Because when you square -1, you get a +1, because -1 times +1, or -1 times -1 would be +1, and then you make it negative. So this one is going to end up being -4 as well. We can type it in, I'm not sure. Okay, and this one would be -9. Again, you can type it in if you need to, if you're not sure. All right, so then my coordinates become -3, -9, -2, -4, so my x and y's, -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, -1, 2, -4, and 3, -9. So let's talk about what it looks like to graph this. So these are the points that I need to graph, and then I'm going to connect them all together. Feel free to get out graph paper. I'm just going to go ahead and sketch it. And I see that all the y values are negatives except for 0. So I'm going to actually draw my graph like this. Where I put my y's here and my x's here. And then I'm going to do x values first. So I have 1, 2, and 3, and then -1, -2, -3. And then I have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then -9 will be down here. All right, -2. I'm just going to label every other one to save me some space. Okay, so now I have my coordinate grid, coordinate plane created. So let's go ahead and graph these points. So -3, -9. So that's -3 all the way down to -9, -2 and -4, -1 and -1, 0, 0, and then I have 1, -1, 2, -4, it's going to be here, and 3, -9 will be down here. So now I need to connect the points together. So I'm not going to use a ruler, I'm just going to connect the dots in order. And I'm going to put an arrow showing that these would continue on. And that is the graph for this line. Okay? So for nonlinear equations, we're going to specify which values we want you to use. And then you are going to use those to find your coordinates. And then you list, you graph all the points and connect the line together.